I am joined this morning by Chris Buckler, well-known industry figure. I think that's what you told me to say, Chris. Who's joining me today to speak about the self-employed model, where it's been, where it is, where it's going in this country. So welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Nat.
Nice to see you again. So, okay, lots going on in the self-employed model. Let's dive into it. You've left Keller Williams. Next steps for you. What's happening?
So I decided to leave Keller Williams. Was there for 6 years, and it's been great. Lots of really good stuff in that business. I've moved away to another self-employed model, and I'll be getting some kind of press and updates on that in the next few weeks. But for now, I can't tell you now.
Okay, we might come back to that in a little bit. All right. Well, look, there is, as you said, there's a lot of press going on with the self-employed model right now. So, how do you see the future of the model here in the UK, Chris?
So it's a really interesting one, Nat. I think if I look at it, you've got some North American models, which have, Keller EXP, which have kind of landed and bought some really good stuff over, and I think showcase that there is another model. So you've got your online, you've got your high street, and actually the self-employed model is here, and I think it's here to stay, and I think it will grow. And I have conversations with agents day in day out going, actually, it's been proved now, so I'd go and do it. Whereas 2 or 3 years ago, when I was trying to discuss it with agents, I don't know if it's going to work, etc. So we've got that proven over the last 5 years. So I think there's more and more agents that are going to look at it, and the self-employed models that are out there at the moment are going to have to work out what is our value proposition to not only attract the agents but keep them in the business once they've made that transition. And I think that's the key thing. It's not just about recruiting agents in, it's hand-holding them and supporting them, whether it's in marketing, tech, putting them in front of other great agents as they go on that journey, so they don't join, get cheap Rightmove, Zoopla on the market. Rightmove wouldn't agree with the way I've said that, but essentially that's what some agents see it as, and then go off and do their own thing. So the key really is working out what's the missing value ingredient to support agents so they can join as a single agent and then go and grow a big team if they want within your business.
Yeah. So okay. So what do you think is the vital ingredient for an effective self-employed model?
I think there's 3. I think it's support, marketing, and tech. So support proper business ownership, support with mindset, support with how do I actually put my accounts in. What if there's things I don't want to do? So if I love being an agent, but I hate sales chasing, having that on hand for agents to dip into. Some agents may want a coach, business coach, making sure that agents, if the market changes, have that genuine support by either the leadership or other agents within the business. Marketing, most agents, and I'm an agent, right, aren't great marketers. They would prefer to go, give me a letter that works, give me some campaigns that works, give me some digital nurture processes that work. I don't really want to be writing them or creating them because that's not my skill set. And I think tech that enables the agent rather than replaces them, so that they can just crack on, and whether it's share listings across their network, whether it was automatically create PPC, Facebook ads, etc., all from one single source login. I think if you nail those 3 things, you're going to be pretty competitive in this day and age.
Yeah, sure. Well, you mentioned nurturing there, so I will have a shameless plug for MovePal nurturing here. But I take your point about the 3 areas that make up an effective self-employed model. So, in your opinion, who is offering the best self-employed model, Chris?
Well, there's no doubt, if you've been watching this space for a while, as most people watching this video will be, EXP have grown the fastest. And if you look at the stats that Adam puts out, are producing agents, and the culture there seems to be quite good. The if I look at London, say more specifically where I'm based, I think you've got some really good setups as well. Harding Green, the London broker. You've got Nested, who are, I would personally call a hybrid between the self-employed. I'm sure Alice, who's wonderful there, would say no, they're fully self-employed. But you've got some models doing some really, really good stuff. Again, I think it's what do the agents want and what's going to attract the most. I think that's the important thing. But again, for me, it comes down to support, marketing, and tech. If you nail those three things, you should be the brokerage, the self-employed model, the market center, whatever it is, that attracts the most amount of agents, and like I say, retains them as well.
Okay, no, that's great. Okay, so if you were putting something together, what would be your top three apart from that?
Apart from that, I think culture is really important, because
Yeah.
you can give the agents all of what I've just described, but if the culture isn't there underlying of agents generally supporting each other, collaboration, no idiots, if you like, within the business, not recruiting, in my view, you can recruit great agents from outside the business. I think when you start something, and EXP have done this really well, is they've only recruited experienced agents. So there's that level of, okay, this isn't necessarily a club anyone can join. So I think it's not having in the business, right? If you don't have integrity or trust behind you, then you're not part of the business. Culturally, something that agents aren't worried about nicking leads, that actually, agents work together, and whether that's inside the the workplace or outside doing certain events. And I'd say branding that would work well again in central London, where I've got a few listings, through to up there in Yorkshire, right? Branding that the agents can go, I'm super proud and pumped to be part of a brand that looks good and supports me. The brand says a lot about what we do as a business. I think branding's key. Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. So recently we did a webinar with Paul Long regarding who's the kind of guru on Facebook ads, but we were talking about along with Craig from Valpal, how agents can leverage other peripheral business like mortgages, conveyancing, that sort of thing, because there's a huge margin in that. And right now, this is agents really need to be looking at this sort of stuff. So what's your view on that, and how can, what would you offer for agents in the self-employed space on that?
What I've found over doing this with Keller Williams and my previous business, when we had self-employed agents in there, is that when your fees are 5-6 grand, or like I say, if you go to central London, 10, 20, 30 grand, agents don't necessarily focus on the referrals in the short term, right? It's very much I'm chasing the fee, which is I would do, and rightly so. So if there isn't a way that the self-employed model can mop those up for the agents, I think that's key. And you've mentioned it earlier, right, with Move, Pal and Nurture. How do we, if my idea when I look at this is someone sat there 7:30 at night on one of the portals, they inquire about a property, they've started their search. One of the next things they're probably going to do is go and want to compare the market or something. How can the brokerage on behalf of the agent, or the self-employed model on behalf of the agent, capture that data so that they don't navigate away with either an autoresponder or what have you, so that the client actually then goes and books a mortgage through a meta link or a hyperlink link to, say, Nat Daniels, and then the agent's paid out on that behalf for really, I'm not saying they're not doing much, but it's a fully automated process which supports the agents, and the agent can still refer to who they want, but actually we can mop up the applicants on the front end that the agents probably wouldn't have time or be focused on, because the fees are so big on the back end. If you can do that, I think that would really help the agents.
Yeah, sure. And just touching on AI, actually, I mean, it's slightly off-piste, but I mean, it's very topical. How could you see that working? Well, obviously in the self-employed model, but with some of those other products, the peripherals that we just said there. What's your view on AI within agency at the moment, Chris?
So I read a quote on the weekend, and it was, AI won't replace your business, someone using AI will. And I really like that. And actually, I've been geeking with an agent at the moment called Josh Smith. We've been geeking back and forth on AI and what it can do for estate agents and that process. So one of the things I'm looking at is it's called Score App. Essentially, you can create a online form. So it could be, am I ready to sell? Am I ready to, but AI will bring in all the questions, and then based on where the person lands, it will then go through to different landing pages, and you can give certain bits of advice. So for example, you could type in the question, should I move in the next 2 years or move home in the next 2 years? A whole survey will be created on your behalf, and then the follow-on funnels will also be created as well. And that could be done, say, for should I become a self-employed agent? Should I refinance right now? Should I invest in buy-to-lets? And it will create that for you. But then you have some meaningful data to go back to your clients with, rather than just, say, an online valuation.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great. I'm geeky like you. I love this space, and we're working on property descriptions, which we've used an AI model with ChatGPT under the hood, looking at qualification, lead qualification. I mean, there's so many uses for it, but I think you're right, saving time for agents, but not necessarily replacing them. And then, it's always going to be about the human touch. I think we agree on that. So, Chris, finally, you were going to say something. I'll let you go.
Yeah. So we're also geeking on this last Friday morning, and it was about 8:30 as he was driving up north, as he would say. He wasn't going to the Midlands, and we were basically saying that AI is going to be great in automation and being able to build, a score app and score people, and we're going to know who to ring more so. But actually, the human touch is probably going to get less and less and less. So handwritten notes, dropping a pack in the day before your valuation, all things that actually may seem meaningless or less important with AI, in our view, will be much more important as a differentiator.
Human touch, absolutely, because at the end of the day, it is a human business that we're in, but we can utilize the tech just to make our jobs a little bit easier, but really don't lose sight of the human touch. I think that's what we are saying and agreeing on here. Okay, listen, thanks, Chris. Awesome stuff. Before I go, what's your top tips for the whatever? Go with it. Market, how it's looking, self-employed model. What's on your mind?
Market is going to remain like I think it is till the end of this year. It's head down. I think it's educating clients is so important, rather than we need to go and reduce prices. I always use the term price adjustment, but actually it's looking at marketing strategy and the adjustment we need to make there. I had a conversation with a client this week. They didn't want to drop below 900. When we looked at the fact they're upsizing, and we went through literally an educational piece, allowing them to self-discover that whilst they were dropping, the house they were looking at 6 months ago has come down 150 grand. It's all proportional. So I think a lot of time actually explaining things to clients so that they can self-discover what the right thing to do, and advising, not just being the agent that comes around and goes, this is the price we put it on at, this is our fee, and we put you as a premium listing. Right now, I'd say through to the back end of the year, vendors, landlords need proper advice, and they will trust you on the adjustments once you give them that advice, rather than just going, doing the standard power hour, we need to reduce our property price. I think that's when you'll lead to losing stock. And final thing is, before you do that price adjustment conversation, can you prove to the client you've done everything a week or two before, to whether it's social media, pay-per-click campaign, changing the listing, basic stuff, to say, listen, we've done everything from a marketing point of view, alluding to the fact that price adjustments needed.
Okay. Great advice, Chris. Thanks very much. All right,
Thanks,
Chris Buckler, thanks for joining today. We look forward to the next instalment as to what's happening in Chris Buckler's world. See you soon. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Nat.